Hey guys, this is Dr. Sean over at the Centered Path. I've kind of changed things up. I want to thank you guys so much for watching these videos. What I'm trying to do is add some Western physiology, some Eastern physiology, and the Buddhist technology in for mediating the mind and getting things better. So what I want to talk about though is the kind of algorithm that's been happening with YouTube. It's really funny. I've had this channel for a few years now, and I did during the recent events last year, which I'm not going to name any of them because I think that's what caused me a problem. I posted a video in February of 2020 relating to the situation that was going on, this big giant health issue that people were dealing with. It was super, super new at the time. It was kind of mostly fear-based, and nobody even knew what to do. There was no mandates for anything. No one was telling us to wear something or not wear something or do whatever. We were doing things like washing hands maybe already, I hope. But I went through and was looking through and found an article, actually a statement made by the Dalai Lama himself. And the Dalai Lama said that possibly chanting a certain mantra would help defend people from that issue. So I want to redo it because they removed my video, and I'm going to do it basically the same way. You can look everything up. Everything is physiologically, scientifically, or even Buddhist canon verifiable in one way or another. There's nothing in here that's in any way going to hurt someone. Maybe upset people, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it was a very unusual thing to see this video, which was one of my better videos, actually. I must say it was one of the more higher performing videos, and it had a good number of views, and it was removed because it avoided their policies. And I'm not going to chase it. I'm not going to go after it. I don't care. What I'm going to do is just make a new one, and here we are. So it's talking, or the Dalai Lama was talking about improving health with the recitation of mantra. Now, this could be chanting, it could be prayer, it could be singing, it could be any of that stuff. So it's not religiously confining anyway. Now, you can hum whatever you want for this. But what he was talking about, this, the Dalai Lama, he was talking about was using the Green Tara mantra, okay, to help protect ourselves. Now, mantra means mind protector. And what it does is when you have a mantra that you're repeating, it does protect your mind because nothing else can get in. And especially if you're rather devoted to it and you're into it. Now look at something like transcendental meditation. Same idea. This is ubiquitous throughout Buddhism in many ways. I mean, we see it in Mahayana, Theravada, and Vajrayana studies, as well as Chan and Zen. So we want to look at how we chant, and not just for the esoteric or what we would call magical parts of it, because it's very practical. So the one we're going to go over is actually the same one, and it's the Green Tara mantra, which is Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha, and that's repeated. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha. Om Tare Tu Tare Ture Soha. So what you'll notice in any of the chanting, any of the mantras, and let's say we're doing like Namun Dabutsu or Namo Amitofo, okay, or Guanyin Pusa, any of those things, we make them rhythmically, and that's not just so we remember them so they sound pleasing, which is part of it. However, what it does is, like when we're saying Om, right? It goes from the throat deep down all the way through the entire upper respiratory tract. Now that actually affects the entire set of lymph tissue, muscle tissue, vascular tissue, and other connective tissues in that area. Now we're also moving fluids through those tissues from the deeper layers of the tissues out to the mucosal membranes. What does that do? That helps move those pathogens, things that we've come in contact with that may end up in the nasal cavity or the oral cavity or whatever, and they can then be pushed back and released down the esophagus and destroyed by the stomach. Okay, that's kind of part of the thing. Now we go from the nasal pharynx, which is in through here. This is the nasal cavity, right? These are two. You have the two nares, and then in the side you have the turbinates on the side, and you have the nasal septum in there. And there's a whole space in here, and then you have the sinuses. That's what gives us some of the resonance when we do chanting or speaking or singing. That's we can move that up and down. That's a very important part of the mantra process because we're actually feeling that vibration here, 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 and even in the chest, right down low. And what that's going to do is that's going to improve vibration and move some tissues, move some fluids in those tissues. What fluids are we talking about? We're talking about lymph, we're talking about plasma, we're talking about blood. And in blood is what? The plasma holds the blood cells, the red blood cells and the white blood cells. The white blood cells are the fighter guys. That's who you want to be able to show up. If they can't show up because those tissues are constricted or those tissues aren't pliable, then it's harder for them to get there and fight any bad things that are going on. So we know that mantra is a mind protector. We repeat the mind protector and it protects the mind, but it's also a body protector. It protects the upper respiratory. From here up is upper respiratory, right? This guy through here, the trachea, which is a tube that has a little cilia inside that move the stuff up, whatever's caught in there, and move debris and things up into the esophagus, and the esophagus pushes it down into the stomach where it can be destroyed. Okay. Now there's also inside the lungs, there's plenty of lymph tissue in there. And there's also the alveoli and the bronchioles and all these little funky tubes and all this stuff where air exchange occurs. When we're doing mantra reciting of any kind, now this could be, it could be Jewish, it could be Christian, it could be Muslim. It doesn't have to be anything. It can be secular, it can be pagan, it can be Wiccan. It doesn't really matter as long as you're getting the motion of stuff. Now, why do I choose Buddhist mantras? Because I understand them better and I have a history with them and I've studied them. So it's easier for me and I have an affinity for that kind of thing. That's all it is. Okay. Other parts of the system we want to look at is the diaphragm. If we're having a rhythmic breathing and we're getting things to move, as we move even the chest, that's going to loosen up the nerves, the vagus nerve in through here, the diaphragmatic nerve, the phrenic nerve is what it's called, which supplies the diaphragm, which is this big, right under here, is this big giant dome-shaped muscle that as it pulls down, it pulls air into the lungs. And as we breathe, especially the belly breathing, that's where we're going to get more of that going. Now, why would that be taken down? I have no idea. I watched the entire video. I had it recorded somewhere else, and I was able to see it. And I think the problem is that I mentioned the words that shall not be mentioned these days. And maybe it was just the bots that did it. I'm not going to, like I said, I'm not going to pursue it. I really don't care one way or the other. What I want to do is get that information to you guys. Now, when we're talking meditation, mantra is part of meditation process. It's part of mindfulness. And if you're using it, you can protect and use it to promote a condition in your body. Now, that could be physical health, mental health, spiritual health, whatever, chemical health. Yes, absolutely. Because if we are repeating words that are favorable, are good for our psyche, are pleasing, then we actually are releasing more serotonin and more dopamine. If we're yelling these words and we're angry about it, and we furrow our brow, we take this physical posture of anger and upset and angst, then of course we're going to release norepinephrine. And that's a stress chemical. And cortisol, that's a stress chemical. And we don't want those. That depletes our system and makes us tired and makes us weaker. We need to strengthen ourselves. So mantra, whichever one you choose, okay? Whether it's the green Tara mantra, whether it's the Beikanze, which is the medicine Buddha, or Jizo, which is the Bodhisattva that takes care of the children and things like that. Any of them. So anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about. Kind of getting this in there to have more of that video and more of this physiology versus including everything else. This is Dr. Sean over the Center Path. don't forget to subscribe, give me a thumbs up. And that helps me. One, it like motivates me to do more because I want to do more on this kind of subject. Okay. You guys take good care. Don't forget to do your mantras and do your humming and your singing and your yoik and your whatever you're doing. Okay. Take care. Talk to you later.